Hey everybody, welcome to the end of Module 7. Hopefully everything's going well in here for you. So as usual on our last day of the module, I just want to kind of recap, let you know what you need to know. It should be fairly straightforward for this one. I noticed a lot of you have been getting your assignments in already, which is great. Because of the final project coming due next, at the end of the class, I want to make sure to get all those proposals graded as well as your at-home experiments. So I'm going to try to get as much of that done within the next couple of days as I can so that you have plenty of time. The experiment, as usual, the at-home experiment, you need to wait for my approval to actually complete the experiment because of the safety thing. With the final project, you don't. I'm going to give you comments. I assume you've picked articles that work and stuff like that. If I find some that aren't real scientific papers or whatever, that's where I want to just say, hey, you have to change this because this doesn't really fit the assignment. So I'll try to get that feedback to you right away. I know some of you have reached out via Discord to send me links and ask me if whatever article works, and that's great. I'm happy to answer those questions. So you can keep sending those over if you want. So for this module, you are we were learning about acids, bases, and polymers. So these are your objectives. Oops, wrong side. These are your objectives. You've got identify acids and bases, conjugate acid-base pairs, which one's acting as an acid, which one's acting as a base, what happens when they lose a hydrogen. That's the stuff that's on the quiz. Calculate pH, use a pH scale. So for that one, I should clarify, you don't have to use a calculator to do the formula. You have to know the relationship between how you calculate pH. So for example, as we talked about when we went through this earlier in the week on Monday, if you have a hydrogen concentration of 10 to the minus 5, that's a pH of 5, and a hydrogen concentration of 10 to the minus 1, that's a pH of 1. So that kind of a relationship. They won't, all the numbers will be nice and even like that on your quiz. For polymers, the main thing is understanding the different types of polymers. So what's an ester, what's a polyester versus a polyamide, polyethylene, polypropylene, the ones we went through. How do you make polymers out of monomers? Things like that. And if you need to refer back to the notes while you're doing the quiz, that's fine. You can do that. All right, so the assignments this week. Of course, we've got the acid-base lab, the identifying polymers activity, which you should do, but the biggest priority is to make sure that final project proposal is done, because then you need to submit your final project coming up. So as I said, I'm going to try to get through all of that grading as soon as I can, hopefully within the next couple days, so that you have that feedback. If you still have a lot of outstanding assignments that you have not completed, and we haven't talked about this, you may want to consider that the withdrawal deadline is this weekend. So the chance that you can make up, half of the class material or something in 2 weeks before the end of class is probably not likely. If it's a couple things here and there, or if you're somebody that I've talked to about, stuff happened this semester and we worked it out, that's fine. All that is still fine. But if you just haven't been doing stuff and you expect that you can catch up in the last couple weeks, it's not going to happen. So certainly let me know if you think there's an alternative or something like that, but you may want to consider that rather than risk getting a really low grade. For the final module next week, there's not much to do. It's your last at-home experiment, at-home experiment 4, and the final project should be taking up all your time. There will also be one final quiz, which will just be a mix of stuff from the previous quizzes. So I will make sure that you have access to all the previous quizzes, including the answers, so that you can take this last quiz, which will just kind of be a recap review on everything. So you want to go through all the old quizzes and just kind of make sure you understand that stuff before you take the new one these next couple weeks. And that's it. We're pretty much done. For lab kits. So if you can, and if you will be back near campus at some point, there will be a drop box that you can dump your lab kit in. We would like to reuse that stuff just for so it's not wasteful. The beaker, the graduated cylinder, all that stuff that's in there, we will definitely use it again. And if you are not going to use it, don't just throw it away. Bring it back so that we don't waste that stuff. However, if you want to use it, if you want to keep that stuff, you paid a lab fee, you can keep it. There's nothing wrong with that. We just don't want things going to waste. So if you're planning on throwing it away, please bring it back to campus if you can so we can reuse it. If you'd like to have that stuff around for future experiments or whatever, you can keep it and use it for future experiments or whatever. All right, so as we get toward the end of the semester here, again, let me know if anything comes up. As most of you have discovered, the best way to reach me is definitely Discord. The emails are just so extreme right now in terms, not from you all, but like just from everywhere. So sometimes stuff gets lost in the shuffle there. So if you can at me on Discord, and I get a nice notification on my phone, and that usually is a quicker way to get my attention. As always, if I'm not responding to you, just keep sending, keep bugging, and something will get through, and I'll see it, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, so hopefully everything else is going okay with you at the end of the semester. Again, get vaccinated if you haven't already. There are plenty of vaccines available now. If you don't like the idea of having to go twice, you have the one-shot option with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine now that's available in a bunch of places. And yeah, let's get everybody healthy and vaccinated and back to school. And I will see you on Monday evening to introduce the final module. So for next week, since there's not really new material, what I'm going to be doing in these sessions is just telling you some interesting stuff that we didn't really get to in the rest of the semester. So some chemistry of sugars and eating, some chemistries of what else are we going to talk about? Vitamins, some other kinds of interesting topics, maybe some fabrics, maybe some perfumes, some other interesting areas of chemistry that I've looked at, some kind of misconceptions about things. Anyway, it should just be some relatively short, fun, interesting facts about chemistry things that we, that really aren't big enough, or we just didn't have time for a whole full lesson. So we'll do that this week. Yeah, then I'm hoping to, during exam week, which would be not in the next 2 weeks, but then after that, well, maybe we'll do it in the next 2 weeks. I don't know. At some point to set up a meeting online, just optional for any of you who want to come in and say hi to your classmates and meet each other face to face. I know I've talked to you, some of you that way over video, but a lot of you I still have never talked to. So it would be neat to meet you all if that's something you want to do. So I'll set that up as well. All right. Well, let me know if you have any more questions, and hopefully the rest of the module goes okay for you this evening. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye.